Recording in progress.
Good evening, Gwambana. Welcome to tonight's council meeting being held in the council chambers for this Monday, 10th of July. We'll start with the opening affirmation and acknowledgement of country. We gather to represent the people of Albury who have entrusted us with this task. May our efforts be blessed with insight, wisdom and common sense. May our personal values give us honesty and courage to serve our community effectively and with respect for all. We would like to acknowledge the Wiradjuri people as traditional custodians of the land that we meet upon today and pay our respects to the elders past, present and future, for they hold the memories, culture, tradition and hopes of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people that contribute to our community. Thank you. A reminder, this council meeting is being webcast and recorded. By speaking at the council meeting, you agree to being recorded and webcast. Please ensure that if and when you are speaking at this council meeting that you are respectful to other people and use appropriate language. Albury City accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures made during the course of this council meeting. An audio recording will be made for administrative purposes. Item 3, conflict of interest declarations received and disclosure of political donations. Acting CEO, Ms Squire.
Thank you, Mayor King. No conflict of interest declarations today. In terms of the advice to the council meeting, the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act 1979, Section 10.4 requires a person submitting planning applications or submissions regarding a planning application to disclose any reportable political donation and or gifts to any local councillor or employee of council. Reportable political donations include those of or above $1,000. The disclosure statement forms are available on the council's website or from the Customer Service Centre and must be lodged in accordance with the Act. The forms are also available at the back of the chamber during meetings. In dealing with development applications, councillors need to take into account specific planning matters contained in the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act 1979. Accordingly, the provisions of Section 4.151 of that Act are set out in the Council Officer's report detailing planning issues to be considered. The Local Government Act 1993, Section 375A requires that a division be called whenever a motion for a planning decision is put at a meeting of the council. A planning decision means a decision made in the exercise of a function of council under the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act 1979, including a decision relating to a development application, an environmental planning instrument, a development control plan or a development contribution plan under that Act, but not including the making of an order under Division 9.3 of Part 9 of that Act. Thank you, Mayor King.
Thank you. Item CM4, apologies. CM 4.1, apologies. Councillor Callaghan.
Thank you, Mayor King. I'd like to move that the council receive and note and accept the apology of Councillor Cameron and grant leave of absence for the meeting.
Thank you. Councillor Thurley.
Second the motion, Mayor King.
Thank you, councillors. We'll put the motion. Those for, those against, that motion is carried. Thank you. CM5, mayoral minute. There is no mayoral minute. CM6, action plans. Councillor Thurley.
Thank you, Mayor King. I move that the following action plans be received and noted. 1, actions complete for noting only. 2, actions waiting response from external parties. 3, actions in progress. And 4, long-term issues more than 3 months.
Thank you. Councillor Bettridge.
Read a second, Mayor King.
Thank you. Councillor Thurley, did you wish to speak?
Just a follow-up question from my question from the previous council meeting. Have we gone any further with signing the deed with the state government with regard to Mama?
Ms Squire, any update there you'd like me to direct?
Through you, Mayor King, can I just clarify, Councillor Thurley, the deed with regard to Mama?
Yeah.
Or the Albury Entertainment Centre?
Entertainment Centre.
Yep. Thank you, Mayor King. Thanks, Councillor Thurley, for the clarification. The funding deed was received today and we have reviewed it. So I expect we should be able to return it as executed tomorrow, and then we'll just await for the provision of the fully executed version to come back to us from the state government.
Thank you.
Any other councillors, any speakers for or against in relation to that? In that case, happy to put the motion. Those for, those against, that motion is carried. Thank you. CM7, confirmation of minutes of previous meetings. CM 7.1, minutes of the council meeting held on the 26th of June 2023 at 6:19 p.m. Councillor Bettridge.
Through you, Mayor King, I'd like to move that the minutes of the council meeting held on Monday, the 26th of June 2023 at 6:19 p.m. be confirmed.
Councillor Bowen.
Thank you, Mayor King. I'd like to second that motion.
Thank you. Any speakers for or against? If not, happy to put the motion. Those for, those against, that motion is carried. CM8 rather, reports from community forums. There are none. CM9, notices of motion, notices of rescission. There are none. CM10, presentations and deputations. There are none. CM11, reports, minutes of committees and working parties. Councillor Gluckin. Minutes of the Sustainability Advisory Committee meeting held on Tuesday, the 13th of June, 2023. Sorry, I think that might be an errant elbow there. Sorry about that. Councillor Thurley.
Mayor King, I move that Council A receives notes and accepts the minutes and recommendations of the Sustainability Advisory Committee meeting held on Tuesday, the 13th of June, 2023, and B, endorses the proposed changes to the Community Sustainability Rebate Guidelines, being an inclusion of an additional rebate type, being the scorecard energy assessment, to allow an accredited government assessor to undertake a home sustainability assessment.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Bowen.
Thank you, Mayor King. I'll second that motion.
Thank you. First off, did you want to speak to the motion, noting we do have a question?
Take the question first, if you wish.
Question first, Councillor Gluckin.
Thank you, Mayor King. Through you to the most relevant member of staff. It's with reference to Part B. I'd like clarification or a bit of an explanation, please, with reference to the implications of having the assessment undertaken and what costs might be incurred by council, as well as potential delay to the process. Thank you.
Mr. Millett.
Thank you for the question, and through you, Mayor King. Yes, so the inclusion of that item as a item for consideration in the guidelines is the rebate maximum for it is $400. That allows a resident to actually have one of these assessments of their property undertaken, and that's through a registered and authorised assessor. The types of things they look at is the building materials of the house, the size of each room, windows, insulation, hot water systems, lighting, pool and spa, and or solar power. And basically it just assesses the star rating of the property at that time. And at the end of the assessment, they're provided a report that gives recommendations for improvements. So the inclusion of this process is basically just getting an accredited assessor to give the best bang for your buck to make sustainability improvements. It'll also allow, so within the guidelines, we allow this assessment to be undertaken as in the same year as another application. So if the assessment identifies there's some really good things that you can do to improve your energy efficiency, you can then apply again for the specific item.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, councillor Glacken. Councillor Thurley, do you wish to speak to the motion?
I would just to briefly, clearly that program is going well with a lot of interest, a lot of application. But the other important thing as far as the SAC goes is we are looking for new members, so that through all of your contacts and please get the word out that we would like some new members of the SAC. We've lost a few, and some new blood would also be good. So please get it out there.
Thank you, councillor Thurley. Any other speakers for or against? In that case, happy to put the motion. Those for? Those against? That motion is carried. Thank you. CM12, documents for sealing. Councillor Glacken.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor King, to move the recommendation as a motion that council authorises its seal to be affixed to the documents outlined below in the presence of two signatories authorised to affix the seal pursuant of Regulation 400 Local Government General Regulation 2021, and the council seal and management of legal documents and advice procedure to A, Albury City lease to Hockey Albury Wodonga Part Reserve 620083 commencing 1 July 2023 for 5 years, file number 09/01754, and B, Albury City lease to Amplitel Proprietary Limited, 329 Creamer Street, West Albury, lot 663 DP 753326, two consecutive lease arrangements of 5 years each. Commencing 28 May 2023 and 28 May 2028, file number 09/01790. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Thurley.
Taking the motion, Mayor King.
Thank you. You wish to speak to the motion? Any other
Thank you.
speakers? Happy to put the motion in that case. Those for? Those against? That motion is carried. CM13, officers' reports for consideration. CM 13.1, development application 10.2022.3929.8.1, 76 lot subdivision 348 KERR Road, WIRLINGA. Do I have a councillor wish to? Councillor Glacken.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor King, to move the recommendation as a motion that council receives the contents of this report and grants consent to development application 10.2022.39298.1 for 76 lot subdivision and associated works on land described as Lot 2 DP 1271335 and situated at 348 KERR Road, WIRLINGA, subject to the conditions contained in the draft determination included at attachment 5 to this report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Callaghan.
Happy to move the second motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Glacken, did you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, just to highlight a couple of aspects from the report, that being that the development application has, through the process, been modified. There are not as many lots as was originally anticipated, and that was to ensure that some of the more sensitive lands were retained and better protected, which is really good to see that the developer was able to work through that with the staff to come forward with this, what will be a better outcome for that parcel of land and clearly the people who will ultimately be living there. So happy to support this recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Glacken. Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Mayor King. Acknowledging that there has been some improvements, it's still disappointing to see yet another development in Thurgoona with no public open space. I also believe that using environmental land to meet council's drainage and Sloan's froglet habitat requirements rather than residential land to maximise profits is a poor environmental outcome. However, I'm happy to see that no native vegetation removal is proposed, and I look forward to the subsequent development to the east of the subject land, also retaining large old trees for the benefit of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 4, councillor Callaghan.
Thank you, Mayor King. I'm going to echo both sentiments, really. The amended plans which remove the stage of the east, which reduced it specifically from 115 to 76 looks, means that there is a less of an environmental impact to the land that is zoned environmental management, which is a positive. However, I want to highlight it is less of an impact. There's still an impact that's happening there. However, the development is lacking in an open space. With 76 lots, there is no open space to connect people, for people to come together. Recently, through the consultation period for the WIRLINGA Master Plan, community were calling for better protection of environmental land and more parks and playgrounds, and having these would have greatly improved the overall amenity. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Callaghan. Any other speakers for or against? Councillor Gluckin, did you wish to sum up or happy to put the motion?
It's fine, thank you.
Okay, we'll put the motion. Those for? Those against? Oh, in division, sorry, those for. Good reminder. Thank you, Councillor Thurley. Those for: Councillor Thurley, Councillor Callaghan, Edwards, Bowen, King, Betteridge, Gluckin and Baker. There are none against. Thank you. In a division. CM 13.2, Investment Policy and Procedure Review. Councillor Callaghan.
Thank you, Mayor King. I'd like to move that Council A endorses the annual review of Albury City's investment policy and procedure, and B, adopts the proposal administrative changes to the investment policy and procedure as presented to Council.
Thank you, Councillor Callaghan. Councillor Bowen.
Thank you, Mayor King. Happy to second that motion.
Thank you. Councillor Callaghan, did you wish to speak to the motion?
I do. Thank you, Mayor King. It is positive to see the changes from the 2022 review, which now sees Albury City's Council preferencing investments with financial institutions that do not support the fossil fuel industry, such as Suncorp, Hume Bank, WOW, Australia Unity and BankVit. It is a positive to know that Albury City Council will continue to look for further socially responsible investments where possible. It is also enlightening that T Corp are open to extending the investment past 10%, which was previously negotiated recently to increase from 5% to 10% in the recent months. Financially, we're moving in a socially conscious direction while still seeking to increase investment. So thank you for your hard work.
Thank you, Councillor Callaghan. Any other speakers for or against? In that case, are you happy for me to put the motion? Those for? Those against? That motion is carried. Thank you. CM 13.3, Stakeholder Engagement Plan, application for local public holiday, Albury Gold Cup. Councillor Betteridge.
Thank you. Through Mayor King, I'd like to move that Council A endorse the Stakeholder Engagement Plan and authorise officers to undertake consultation to determine the level of support for Albury City to apply for a half-day holiday for the 2024 and 2025 Albury Gold Cup, and B, receive a further report outlining the outcome of the consultation process and determine whether to proceed with the application process.
Thank you. Councillor Gluckin.
Happy to second that.
Thank you. Councillor Betteridge, did you wish to speak to the motion?
Very briefly, thank you, Mayor King. We're going to go out for consultation. A further report's going to come back to us. I think that'll be the time to have some in-depth discussion. Thank you.
Speaker 4, Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Mayor King. I'd like to have a little bit of discussion now, if that's okay with Councillor Betteridge. I believe spending public resources and funds on an event, a private commercial event that promotes gambling, excess drinking, public drunkenness and animal cruelty is abhorrent and in conflict with the sustainable and ethical business practices that we expect from those we have dealings with. Rates of domestic violence also increased during such events, reportedly up to 17%. This is out of line with Albury's 2050 commitment to our community's mental and physical health. Cross-border families with school-aged children find the half-public holiday a logistical nightmare. There also seems to be no clear support from Albury Business Connect members who represent our business community. I have no doubt that the event would probably attract just as many visitors to the region without spending public funds or having the public holiday that impacts families and businesses. If people want to go, they can take the afternoon off. So I oppose any council investment or otherwise support for this event, including the public holiday, for it to occur. But I'm keen to hear what our community have to say on this matter, so I'll be supporting the stakeholder engagement plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Question, councillor Gluckin.
Yes, through you, Madam Mayor, to the most relevant member of staff. Can they confirm, or do they know if Albury Business Connect have indeed undertaken their own survey, or are they going to, or are they encouraging their members to participate in the research that Albury City will do? Or will that be a part of our research? Thank you.
Thank you for the question, councillor Gluckin, through you, Mayor King. Yes, it will be about Albury Business Connect encouraging the community to participate in the consultation process that we're promoting, and really encouraging everybody, whether it's businesses or individuals in the community, to actually have their say through the process.
Sorry, so confirming they have not yet undertaken that. So
That's correct.
Thank you. Speaker 4, councillor Callaghan.
Thank you, Mayor King. I think it's important to have this stakeholder community have your say. Essentially, it's been going since 1998, and if there is a time for change, people need to speak up and have their voices heard. Otherwise, it's the status quo. And if that's it, so be it. But you know, there's no point in putting stakeholder consultation out if people aren't going to respond and then cry after the end of the fact that they didn't get what they want. So now's the time.
Thank you, councillor Callaghan. Any other speakers for or against? Councillor Bettridge, did you wish to close debate?
No, I'm comfortable for the motion to be put.
In that case, we'll put the motion. Those for, those against, that motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. CM 13.4, Draft Economic Development Strategy. Councillor Gluckin.
thank you. Through you, Mayor King, to move the recommendation, happy to move the recommendation as a motion that council endorse the draft Albury Economic Development Strategy 2023-27 for public exhibition for 28 days. And if no submissions are received during that exhibition period, adopt the strategy. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Thurley.
Second the motion, Mayor King.
Thank you. Councillor Gluckin, did you wish to speak to the motion?
Simply to highlight a couple of aspects. And one is that Albury City as a council is local government and focused on all things local government. And that really has a relationship with our business community and ensuring that we as a council with our business community continue to drive Albury City and our region forward is very important. A number of things have changed, as have been highlighted in the report. A number of things have changed in the last few years, not least of which was the COVID pandemic and the knock-on effect and flow-on effect from that. And many things have subsequently changed because of that. So it's important to be able to note that with this new draft development strategy, and I look forward to feedback from the community about how that may be better, or do they have any suggestions for how we might move forward as a regional city with our economic development strategy into the future. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Gluckin. Any other speakers for or against? Happy to put the motion, councillor Gluckin. Those for? Those against? That motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. CM 14, Officers' Reports for Noting. Item CM 14.1, New South Wales Audit Office Performance Audit Report, Regulation and Monitoring of Local Government. Councillor Thurley.
Thank you, Mayor King. I move that council receives and notes the performance audit report regarding the regulation and monitoring of local government prepared by the New South Wales Auditor General.
Thank you, councillor Bowen.
Thank you, Mayor King. I'll second that motion.
Thank you, councillor Thurley. Did you wish to speak to it?
Yes, I found a couple of rather surprising comments in this report. And the first one was that the Auditor General found that the OLG does not conduct effective proactive monitoring to enable timely risk-based responses to council performance and compliance issues. Council performance and compliance varies and a range of issues continue across the local government sector. Some are significant. And we've heard of councils with severe financial problems. We're hearing councils wanting to raise their rates by 20 and 30%. And clearly, if their performance had been monitored for the last 10 years, they mightn't have got to this position. So I think that this is a great step forward. Yes, a little bit more scrutiny of local government, but if you're getting it right, there's no problem with scrutiny. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thurley. Any speakers for or against? In that case, happy to put the motion. Those for? Those against? That motion is carried. CM 14.2 Draft IPART Rate Peg Methodology Review Report. Councillor Thurley.
Thank you, Mayor King. I move that council receives and notes the IPART Rate Peg Methodology Review Draft Report and Albury's submission lodged with IPART prior to the 4th of July 2023 deadline. And B, endorses the option of writing directly to the Office of Local Government to highlight Albury City's position on the review of the rate peg methodology and other matters raised by IPART.
Thank you. Councillor Glacken.
Happy to second that.
Councillor Thurley, did you wish to speak to this one?
Once again, another one of these sort of failings of regulation and oversight. We've constantly been given the rate peg. The figures they use have been out of date, so they've not reflected the current circumstance. So we're told we can have a 2% rate peg at some stage, whereas the inflation rate for that year has been 4.5%. So this is simply, and our submission highlights that issue to local government. It really is important to help councils get their act right, that we are given better information from IPART about what we're allowed to do and why we're allowed to do it. I guess the other good thing is that they really have recognised there are significant differences between a municipal council, a metropolitan council, a regional council and a rural council, and they are nothing like the same. We don't have hardly any road. Our road network is minuscule compared to Greater Hume-Shire, for example, and yet under the previous IPART, we were not, that weighting wasn't put there. Now it is, and I think this is will be a much better tool.
Thank you, Councillor Thurley. Any other speakers? Councillor Glacken speaking for.
Thank you. Councillor Thurley is absolutely correct, and it's fabulous that they're starting to recognise the differences between the councils. And another important aspect to recognise is that regional cities provide significant infrastructure for the regional councils, shires and councils. So just like Councillor Thurley's example of Greater Hume having significantly more road infrastructure, Albury City has significantly more regional facilities infrastructure, and we need to ensure that regional councils can continue to meet the requirements of their regions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Glacken. Happy to put the motion if there's no other speakers. Happy with that? Put the motion, councillors. Those for, those against. That motion is carried. CM 15, delegates' reports for noting. There are none. CM 16, a notice of urgent business. Councillor Thurley.
Just waiting for it to come up.
Just waiting for some wording to come up on a screen. Are we? There it is. No?
Thank you. I move that council move into confidential, discuss item CM 17.1, as this is a confidential item exclusive of press or public, and the grounds of the matter relates to Local Government Act 1993, number 30, section 10A2C. Confidential item exclusive of press or public, and the grounds of the matters and information are the following. Information that would, if disclosed, confer a commercial advantage on a person with whom the council is conducting or proposes to conduct business.
Thank you, councillor Thurley. Just to clarify, that's not notice of urgent business. We are now going to confidential matters, so that is noted. Do we have a seconder, councillor Glucken?
Happy to second going into confidential. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any statements or submissions from the public regarding the reasons as identified for this confidential item CM 17.1? There are none received. Councillors, happy to proceed with the motion to move into confidential. Those for? Those against? That motion is carried. The motion to move into confidential has now been carried. For our live stream viewers, we will now say goodbye. You can find the outcome of this confidential session in the meeting minutes, which are published on the Albury City website within 2 business days.